Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
I want to move on to this question because we didn't get to it last week. Are there any resources for families that have a 19-year-old son with autism that is becoming transgender? I have a student going through this, but unfortunately his family does not support it and refuse to talk about it. Any help would be greatly appreciated. We're seeing much more of this.
Yeah, that's a very tough one. I would suggest that you actually go instead of looking for a resource of, let's say, a psychologist or someone who works with autism. I would try to find, because you're looking at two rare things, although autism isn't that rare anymore, but you know, there are fewer psychologists who deal with autism and much fewer people who deal with transgender issues. So I would start with finding a specialist in just transgender issues for teens. And then I would assume that that individual has a little bit of knowledge about the spectrum. And if they don't, certainly it's easier to educate them about the higher functioning individuals on the spectrum than it is, you know, transgender issues are kind of a newer area. And so if someone is a specialist in that area, you've already kind of crossed the first bridge, right? And that's the harder bridge, I think. And then that way you get in and get them help. I unfortunately don't have a good resource, but Shannon, if you feel that it is becoming more and more common, we should probably try to find a good resource.
Well, and I've got a couple of things, because we've been talking more and more about this, because, you know, a couple of studies have come out recently saying that it is more common. Transgender, it's both ways. So in the general population, there are more people on this spectrum that are transgender than the general population. So if you just take the two general populations, but there are also, if you just take the transgender community, there are more people on the spectrum than anything else. So if that makes sense, I'm not good with the numbers thing, but it's more common, they're finding with autism. So I do have a couple of resources that are non-clinical that we just had Jason Weisbrod on the show a week ago Friday from Spectrum Laboratories. They're a group of people. It's two, I wouldn't call them teachers, I would call them more coaches that help individuals to find what their creative groove is. So they have acting classes, and they have creative classes and band, and they make films, and they help individuals on the spectrum make CDs if they're artists. So that's really how this organization was founded. But in the course of that, they discovered that several of their teens and adults were transgender. So now they have a film out, a short film called Boys Don't Wear Dresses, which feature many of their performers, some of whom are transgender. And it's really about being a teenager and being transgender. Wow. So I would check that out. I would check out Spectrum Laboratory, because they have a group of, a peer group where, you know, there are a couple of individuals that are transgender, but then there's this whole big group of people around them that are on the spectrum and are completely accepting of their friends who are transgender. So you've got this place where they could go and feel welcome, and they're doing classes online. So that could be a good resource. And the other thing I want to say is over at the Ed Asner Family Center, they have an LGBTQ group that is, I think that it is, I think there's an LMFT who sits in to make sure that it's productive, but it's teens and young adults talking to teens and young adults. So that's a good resource too. You can go to Ed Asner Family Center and find out more about that. They also have a movie chat group that some of those same people participate in. It's every Saturday night. And the moderator for that is a young woman who's on the spectrum. She's fabulous. We've had her on the show. And during the week, they watch a movie and then they get together, and it's a social group on a Saturday night, and they just talk about the movie, and it's free. And anybody can sign up for it in the world. Go to Ed Asner Family Center. So those are so that they'll have friends, but those are non-clinical in nature. Okay. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.